This again. Welcome to another episode of the Retired Rookies podcast, where we sit down with former collegiate and professional athletes who have gone on to successfully transition into their secondary careers. Today we have Martin Lattibeaudiere here with us. Martin was a collegiate basketball player at West Texas A&M University. Graduated with a degree in business administration and management. After graduating college, he went on to play professionally in both the NBA and in Europe. After retiring from playing basketball professionally, Martin went into the hospitality industry, garnering titles as director of revenue, global director of revenue, just to name a few. Um, Currently, Martin is the co-founder of MTL Management, which is a business advisory firm focused on strategy and revenue optimization in the hospitality and telecommunications industries. And then also, Martin is the chief experience officer at Globall Life, which is an athlete transition ecosystem built to equip professionals and collegiate athletes with tools, resources, and the community they need to thrive after retiring. Martin, how we doing today?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I'm it's a pleasure to have you on. Been wanting to get you on for a while, so happy we were able to make it happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I just like to jump right into it. Can you describe the moment you realized your playing career was over and kind of what emotions kind of came with that?
I had two situations when I realized it was over. I had an injury the last playoff series that I was playing in Portugal. I went up to dunk on this cat and I caught him slipping and I was going to take advantage of it. And
Hmm.
when I took off, I heard a pop. And no one wants to hear that pop. It was a pop that I never heard before, but one that I knew something was up. So came down, got the ball, gonna dribble down the court, and I couldn't push off the leg at all. So I pretty much called it and got off the line, sitting on the side and speaking to the doctors after the game. I tore my patellar tendon.
Mm.
So, I had to have surgery on that. I was out for a minute, but I was determined to come back. And, me being the person that I am, I was going to prove to myself that wasn't going to be the last time that, I played. So I was able to play another season after that. But then, it was a situation where it's like, do I want to keep pushing through this and potentially get another injury, or, which way do I want to go? And that's when I started asking myself those questions. It was like, okay, maybe I need to take that other route and hang your jersey up and see what's out there.
Yeah. And so, what was that process like once you realized, okay, this is probably something that this is probably going to be my last year? Uh, what steps did you take to kind of prepare yourself for that transition?
Man, I'll be honest, there's nothing that I could have done back then on how to transition because I didn't even know it was a, transition. I mean, it was like, I'm not playing ball anymore. It was like,
Yeah.
what am I going to do now? And it was difficult because you don't know. I mean, you've played ball all your life. Ball has always been part of everything. And when you get to the point to where you start figuring out, okay, well, what do I want to do? What am I going to do? I went to school for business management and computer information systems, and all the languages that I knew and information it was outdated. And it only been like 5, 6 years after I graduated, and it was eye opening to see how fast this part of the world was moving. So I had to reinvent myself in a way that I had to figure out what I needed to do, and I had to put my nose to the grindstone. But it wasn't without self doubt, anxiety, and worry that okay, am I gonna succeed? In sports, I always do. Hard work, determination is gonna get you there. And even though I had those things, it's different when you're trying to build a career, knowing that you need to have money long term and think about what you're gonna do.
Yeah. So you mentioned self doubt. How did you manage to work through that? Because I'm sure you're not alone in that. We all kind of go through that once we decide it's time to hang up the cleats or the sneakers and transition. So just kind of describe and explain to us how you were able to kind of work through that self doubt.
Man, I'll be honest. there are times when I still have it. I
Mm,
mean, yeah, I still have it because in any new thing that I do, I'm a rookie all over again. And even though you got a little bit more confidence because you've already been through it a few times, it's hard to not have self-doubt. That that the fact that I'm not the one that knows everything, that I'm not the one that's going to be, the game changer at the end of the day. And it's a matter of, you know, thinking about it, talking to yourself, reflecting within yourself and, spending time reassuring yourself that, look, you got this, you can do this, do the research, make sure that you're, planning, making sure that you're communicating, make sure that you're reaching out to people that are the experts and trying to learn as much from them as you possibly can. And it helped me in a lot of other aspects in regards to building my network, having the confidence to, walk up to someone in a room that is already demanding all the attention and listen, as well as asking the right questions, So it's one of those things that I constantly have to work at because, you know, it's a hard thing when you're not the one with the rock in your hand at 5 seconds left and, you know what you're going to do.
yeah. Yeah, and I actually was thinking about this today at work. I had a customer come in, and we were kind of going through some things as far as their finances, and I found myself in that boat, kind of doubting myself and kind of the things that I'm saying, and I'm stumbling over my words. And I always refer back to basketball and what made me successful there. And um, I mean, for me, the confidence came from being competent. And in that space, it was the reps. I knew I was getting up the reps, so that's what allowed me to be confident. So I think to your point, whenever you start something new, you're gonna probably experience that self doubt. But the more reps you put up, just like anything, you know what I mean. And the crazy part about all this is it's nothing profound. It's nothing that we don't already know. But sometimes we do need that reminder.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah. So after you decided to transition, was hospitality the first step for you? Was that the first career move?
It was, I had gotten with a couple of friends that I was playing with, and we're going to decide if we're going to open a restaurant or a hotel. And in the research that I was doing on it, it was restaurants are a beast, man. I mean,
Hmm.
all the laws and regulations, and hospitality again. And these are two things that we know from all the time we've been traveling, all the restaurants we go to. It's something that's familiar. It's kind of like a comfort zone. And you know, I was able to get into a management program at IHG and learned everything from the bottom up because I didn't want anyone to steal the little money that I had. You know what I mean? So I wanted to make sure that I knew what was going in, I knew what was coming out, and everything in between. That's
Hmm.
the type of person that I am, and I fell in love with it. I gotta say, it's a lot more competitive than you would think, but it's also people facing. You get to meet people at the front desk, you get to build those relationships. I mean, I got friends that I started out with at the front desk at a Holiday Express in Odessa, Texas. I still have friends today that
Yeah.
I used to check them in, and we used to have that banter back and forth. But yeah, I mean that's where it started. And going from multi-property to corporate, I mean it was a journey. But like you said, you're building that confidence by getting the reps, by doing the research, by being the one that knows what I know and being proud of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what would you say surprised you the most about the transition?
You know, Hands down, it's got to be the mentality of individuals outside of the locker room. When you're on a team, you're in that locker room, everyone has your back. You've got everyone's back. Everyone is moving in the right direction. You've got the same goal. You're all on the same team and you're moving in one direction. And it was a rude awakening for me that it wasn't like that in the corporate world. And again, I was naive, not knowing what I didn't know. It was people have their own agendas. People are out for self. People are out trying to get what they can get. And, the first year, it was weird to me because I'm like, okay, well, we all want the hotel to do well. We all want to succeed. So why aren't we helping each other in a way that, can benefit the overall group? And it amazed me. But that's a shock. And that's one of the things that I will say to this day. If I do not see that type of culture in any type of investment, in any type of company, in any type of organization that I'm around, I I don't have anything to do with it. I don't.
Yeah, yeah. No, culture is big, and it can't be replaced. It's not something that you can kind of
Can't fake it.
yeah, you can't
Can't
fake
fake it.
culture. You can't fake
No.
culture. So no,
Mm-mm.
I'm with you there. And so I saw on your LinkedIn at some point after you. So what made you decide to get out of the hospitality industry and kind of pursue entrepreneurship?
Well, it's one of those things where, like, what's next?
Yeah.
You know, this is an absolute wonderful company. This is a great career. I'm moving up based on the work that I'm doing and the teams that I'm building. But what's next? I'm putting in mad hours, right? And I've got two children now, and they're getting older, and they can see when daddy's not there. So it was a matter of sitting down with my wife saying, "Hey, you up for this? We can do this. We'll be teammates, and we can knock this out." So, jointly we decided to, start our own company, and haven't looked back since, man.
Yeah, and kind of go into because the thing I love about that is so many times I think that especially as athletes and we lack experience in corporate or just the real world, and we know we want to be entrepreneurs, we know we want to work for ourselves, but we don't have any context around what value we can bring to the marketplace. And so what you did was you gained a valuable skill set in an industry, and then went on and did it on your own, or is adding value to that space. But it all stemmed from you um, being humble enough and showing a level of humility, like you said, starting from the ground up. You went from being a playing in the NBA to you know what I mean, checking people in at a hotel, and a lot of people aren't willing to to do that. I mean, a lot of people
It's
are just
funny.
too prideful.
In one of the interviews that I had, one of the engineers was saying that, I looked you up online, and what happens if one of your friends gets hurt over there or something like that? You just gonna leave us here and then you're gonna go back home? I was like, no, man, it don't work that way. It don't work that way. It's like, I'm here for the long haul, man. I'm trying to learn from you.
Mhm.
So yeah, man, it's funny.
Yeah, really quick too. Could you speak to that? Because I think a lot of times, I know I experienced it where I thought I retired. I told everybody I retired, I was done, and then I went into the marketplace and I was like, I can't do this. Let me go back to what I know. And so I went back for a year until I realized, like, okay, I just need to figure it out. I need to go through that rough patch and rough phase. So you said something. You were like, no, I'm here for the long haul. How did you know for certain, like, you were done? Was it the injury?
Well, no, it wasn't an injury because, again, I mean, I had to prove to myself that I could still play, and
Yeah.
I was able, fortunate enough to get into the contract after that. But it's one of those things, is a moment of clarity where you think, like, do I like how long am I really gonna be able to do this now? Because,
Mhm.
like, before, I thought it was over when I heard that pop, and that's when the lights came on, because the lights had never been on before. I mean,
Mhm.
starting from day one, I always thought I was going to the league. I
Yeah.
mean, no one could tell me I was ever going to stop. I mean, they were
Yeah.
going to have to pull me off the court. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it was one of those things where it's like, well, damn, I can't do this forever. It's like, I'm not trying to go through this rehab process all over again. And, like, you're getting older, your body doesn't, bounce back as fast as it used to. And there's just it's a subtle reality that it might hit some. I mean, even if, you're putting in 45 or 35, and you're in the ice bath after the game, it's like, how long am I going to do this? What do I need to start thinking about? It was just one of those things that came up. I had never thought about it previously, but it's one of those things where, hey, there was a reality that I'm not going to be able to do this forever. And it was either fight or flight. It's like, to the very end where, I saw some cats over there that, man, cats couldn't walk after the game. I mean, they were wrapped up in ice from ankles, knees. shoulders. I mean, it was like, yeah, I can't go out like that. I'm like, if I'm gonna go, I'm going out on my own terms, you know. And I just didn't want to be like that, man. So I'm like, I can still move now. So let me see what I can do and make a little bit more money and, you
Hmm.
know, try to take the next step.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I love that. So can you talk about the similarities or some of the principles that you still carry with you now in or that you've learned from your playing days that you carry with you now in entrepreneurship and being on boards and different things like that.
You know, the the things that I carry across are probably my values. My values are family, service, and kindness. You know, family first and foremost. I've got my mom, I've got my brother, I got my sister, and we were always close. We've always been there for each other. And, those are the individuals you can always get the truth from.
Hmm.
Those are the always ones that you can fall back on and ask, hey, what should I do here? Or, have you ever seen this before? Or what do you think? And you're going to get a true, honest, sometimes blunt response, but it's what you need to hear.
Hmm.
You know, service, I believe in helping others. I mean, and that's one of the things, in the corporate world that really hit me was why would you not want to help the fellow person right beside you or one that is not at the level that you're at? Help them get there. Or, just be in a position where you can mentor someone or assist someone in any way that they see fit. And that's probably one of the ways that I'm living my life right now in everything that I do. Um, and then kindness. I mean, I believe in karma, and I believe if you give kindness, you're going to receive kindness. And, it doesn't always work that way, but at least I know I gave the kindness. And you can't please everybody, but, as long as you know you've done what you need to do and that you've done it, and the Lord is looking down at you when you're up at those pearly gates, and Peter's got that tablet and he's checking that check boxes. I want to make sure all my boxes are checked, man.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I love that. So now you're the chief experience officer at Global Life. What were some of the gaps in the marketplace that you kind of noticed that made you want to join and be a part of Global Life?
I started out having communication with Abiola, the CEO of Global Life, um, through an advisory board. I was on an advisory board for her, and the emphasis and the mission of the company, it really resonated with me. I mean, I think it would be hard for it not to resonate with any athlete out there. It's an athlete, an AI driven athlete transition platform, and we're trying to help athletes, college, professional, build that plan. Um, Hearing her talk about what she was wanting to do and how she was wanting to go about it, I just felt obligated to share, my story and anything that I could have used from my business experience, my playing experience, and just my life in helping her build it. And I was on the board for a few months, giving my feedback and input. And probably after, I'd say maybe a month or two after the board had concluded, she reached back out to me and was like, "Hey, I really liked some of the things that you were sharing with me. I really liked some of the ideas you had. What do you think about coming on board and helping us out?" I'm like, "Absolutely. I'm here to serve. I'm here to help you guys. So I definitely do what I can." And doing the research with a company is like I was telling you earlier, there are a lot of companies out there that do focus in athlete transition that may have one or two niche items that they're working with, whether it's, resume building or job placement. Um, but what Abby is doing is building a platform that's holistic, where we hit every aspect that an athlete might need, from mental health, entrepreneurship, mentoring, um, job placement, resume building, everything like that. And it's all implemented in an AI system that once you give it information on what it is that you're trying to achieve, it spits back a plan to you based on you specifically. So it's not a one size fits all. It speaks specifically to your strengths, your weaknesses, and any jobs that might be available because we allow companies to post jobs on the site, for the athletes to look at and to be matched with, as well as the service providers. There's a ton of service providers that are there that um, we allow them to work with the athletes depending on whatever niche it is that they're serving with. So again, it's one of those things where in the marketplace right now, there's not a one-stop shop, and that's what Global Life is.
Yeah. What would you say has been the most rewarding part of helping athletes transition to the life after sports? Like, I know it has to be and I get the feeling sometimes. I talk to a few college guys right now that's getting ready to graduate and things like that, and just the joy and the feeling that you get from knowing that you're just kind of passing it down, passing it along. It really is a beautiful thing. So just can you kind of speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, you want to pass it forward, you want to pay it forward, and it is it's very rewarding knowing that you're helping someone that they did not know where to go.
Hmm.
Because again, when you're in school, you're you're practicing, you're working out, and you're traveling, you're playing games. You might have a Sunday off to where now you got to scramble and study for whatever exams you might have or classes you might have during the week, and then on Monday, all over again. And you don't have time, a lot of time to do things outside of that. You don't have time to build your network. You don't have time to think about what it is going to be like outside after you're done playing. And so being able to kind of give some people some insight into what to look for, how to, build their online presence, how to make sure that they're using all the tools that they've learned being an athlete and to translate those into the business world it's rewarding because when you see those wins, even if someone took one or two things that you said and it benefited them, then you've done your work.
Yeah. Now, what have been some of the challenges? What have been some of the biggest challenges that you feel athletes face? When they're looking to transition.
There are a lot that have difficulty with understanding who they are without that jersey. And there's a point where everyone wants to come, give you dab. Everyone wants to see you. Everyone wants to hang out. Everyone wants to know you because of what they see you do on the court. And, that feels good. I mean, that's like, that can be like a drug, man. And when that drug is no longer there, it's, you got to go through that withdrawal. And it's like, okay, no one's screaming my name anymore. No one is, chanting me to do this, that, or the other. And it's a hard withdrawal. It's a hard reality because you're in the spotlight for a good portion of your life, and then now that spotlight isn't there. So
Yeah.
you've got to find a way to replace it. That it feels whole within yourself.
Yeah. One of the biggest things that I found challenging was redefining success. I didn't know what it looked like. Like when I was an athlete, I knew okay, I wanted to be first team all conference, and I wanted to get here. I want to do that, and it was pretty black and white. When you are no longer in that environment, I've found it difficult at times to redefine what success looks like for myself. Uh, did you experience that, and if so, how did you navigate?
Yeah, I did. Um, being in an industry or just in the business world that you don't know what a win is or what a loss is, um, you really rely on the people that you try to keep around you. And and that's where I learned the lesson that not everyone is not everyone's in your corner, not everyone's
Yeah.
rooting for you. So the one thing I always said going into anything is like, I'm going to work out. I'm going to outwork anybody at anything that I need to do. I didn't have to worry about the work ethic. I didn't have to worry about putting the
Mhm.
hours in to learn it. But when it came to execution, there were people that had been doing it a while longer to where they were more efficient in how they were doing it. And, you know, you eventually find those that, you know, are not out for self or they see how hard you're working and they respect it.
Mhm.
And that's where I think my niche and my success started to come when people saw how hard I was working, the questions that I was asking, the things that I was doing. They started to say, hey, okay, this is what you need to do, or this is how this needs to be done, or this is how you calculate this. And that's where I started to learn what success looked like. And that's where the competitive nature started to come into play, where you've got hotels that are competing against one another, and I'm like, okay, I'm starting to learn more about this, and I'm trying to do any and everything I can at the hotel to make sure that we're number one on this report, so we're beating everyone in the market. So it's a slow process that, yeah, you do need reassurance and guidance from individuals that you can trust, and it's a matter of finding those, getting that reassurance, getting that confidence, and using that to build your momentum.
Yeah, love that. What, Martin? What's one piece of advice that you would give current and former collegiate and professional athletes who are looking to transition? What if there was one thing you could say they could start doing right now that would kind of move the needle the most? What would it be?
Ask questions. Like I was saying before, you are used to be number one, and people came to you to ask you questions or give you the ball so you could shoot it or whatever it might be.
Hmm.
Now you're a rookie all over again. You got to ask questions. I mean, questions are going to open so many doors for you. You know, Asking the right people questions, asking the wrong people questions. You're going to find out solutions to whatever it is you're trying to find. But one, it's going to give you visibility to individuals that you may not have visibility to before in the past. It's going to help build your network because you're actively reaching out to people, asking these questions, and they're going to remember those questions. And the more you do it, they're going to, make sure that you're part of their network, and they're going to, reach out to you or ask you proactively if you have any questions about X, Y, or Z. And it's like a Lego block. You're building your network, and you're building it wide, you're building it tall, and it's all encompassing. So when you need someone to go to ask a question, you're going to have someone, and that curiosity is potentially going to lead to job opportunities because they're going to say, well, this person is asking all the right things. They're consistently asking me about this or that, and they're asking good questions. So what would this person be like in this situation? So if they're aware of a job that comes open, then hey, hey, Mark, I saw this job pop up about this or that. I think you might be a good fit. I know this person there. I can put in a good word for you. Things like that. So asking the questions, and it's going to increase your network. That's going to increase your visibility.
Yeah. Martin, I appreciate your wisdom. You've been there, you've done it. Still in the game, still improving. So I look forward to continuing to see all the great things that you do at with Globall Life. And as I mentioned before, anything that I can do and you need from me, feel free to reach out. You have my number, and yeah, I'll be happy to assist. Service is one of my things too. So I'm always trying to help.
That's great, Thomas, man. I really appreciate that, man, and I'll hold you to it.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Anything that you want to add that I may have forgot to ask that you really want to get off your chest?
Yeah, I mean, it's really the visibility about Global Life. Globallife.com. If you don't know about it, just go check it out. It's free to all athletes to sign up and build your profile. You're not going to lose anything, but you're going to build in a community. You're going to have mentors. You're going to have resources that you can reach out to. I, for one, if you have any questions about it, you know, hit me up. I'll be more than happy to jump on a chat with you and answer any questions that you've got. But check it out and spread the word.
Yeah, yeah. I forgot to ask too when we were talking about Global Life a few minutes earlier, but uh, it seems like you guys are really, really, really focused on the athlete, just the athlete life journey, and you mentioned AI being incorporated in the fold now. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on where you see Global Life in the next, say, 5 years, and what you guys how you guys plan to continue to pour into the athletes.
You know, in the next 5 years, I gotta think of Global. heading in a situation where that's the name that you think of when you think of athlete transition. The same way you're thinking of Nike or Adidas when you're thinking about getting a new fresh pair of kicks, you're going to think about Globall when it comes to something that serves that you might need. And the reason why I say that is, again, we're starting with the athletes, high school, college, because again, after college, some are able to go professional, some are not, you know. So we want to make sure that we bring it to their attention now, sooner than later, because when it comes time for that last bell to go off, that last buzzer, it's too late. I
Late.
mean, it's too late. It is. So even when you're professionally, it's something again that you're not going to be thinking about all the time. But at least if we're bringing it to your attention, then absolutely. And that's why we're trying to work with a lot of these professional organizations. The NFLPA, the NBAPA, the Legends of Basketball, soccer, MLS, USL, the WNBA. We're trying to work with all of them to help them supplement and build their athlete transition programs because it can never be as robust as it needs to be because of the number of athletes, because athletes are changing. I mean, the athletes now are not the same athletes as before. I mean, the industries have changed. The information you need to be successful is changing. So we're trying to have everything at Global Life in one uh, area that they will be able to access it easily via the app or the website. And again, allowing them to sign up, no cost whatsoever. I mean, go on site, fill out your profile, and start to look at some of the options that you'll have and questions that you might want to ask.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to check it out. I want to say I filled out a profile already. I think after our first conversation, I went on there and I filled out a profile, but I'll have to go back and check.
Okay.
Um, no, no, no. I appreciate your time, Martin. This has been really good episode. I've really been looking forward to. Where can the people find you?
They can find me on LinkedIn. I'm there. MTL Management, Martin Lattibeaudiere. Um, Come and, connect with me, ask me questions. You can go to my site, mtlmgt.com, fill out a questionnaire, schedule some time. Again, I'm here to help anyone that wants it. You know what I mean? I mean, it's different when no one was there to help you. So I want to make sure that I help anyone that needs it. So, free of charge, no charge at all.
Hey, we like free. One more question. If do you have anybody in mind that you think would be good for the show? And if so, we need your help getting them on.
All right, all right. I was fortunate enough to be at a PAC event, professional athlete community event a couple of weeks ago, and I made a lot of different connections. So there's a lot of individuals out there that I think would be perfect for this, and I'll be more than happy to reach out and send you a list of names.
I would appreciate that. I appreciate that. Well, Martin, I'm gonna let you get back to it. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I appreciate you, and we're definitely gonna have you back on as Global Life continues to grow, and just kind of update us on all the cool things that you're doing.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you having me.
Sounds good. All right, talk to you soon.
All right, man.